are joined now by Brett Ciancia of Pick Six Previews. Brett, how are we doing this morning?
Hey guys, doing great. Thanks for having me on. An early Merry Christmas to all the listeners. And yeah, we got a lot to break down. You got playoffs, you got bowl games. Ready to break it all down for you guys.
So, B, I want to rewind a little bit because we kind of hem-hawed around, the 12th team, the 11th team, this, that, and thankful for your mental health. You took a couple of weeks off from talking to us. So I got to revisit how you felt about two group of fives versus what's your philosophy on best in, do one, auto qualifiers? Like, in an ideal world, what would you like?
Yeah, well, I think in an ideal world, if you're going to go with the 12-team bracket, I think you want access for a G5 team, a non-AQ team, if they truly have a special season. And we've seen these over the course of the BCS era and the playoff era, where you have, say, a 13-0 Boise State who's beat a couple ranked teams and maybe beat a Power 4 team in the process. Those TCU teams under Gary Patterson were special. Maybe even a Colt Brennan Hawaii team that went undefeated with the Heisman candidate. But these two this year didn't really have that. I mean, they lost their Power 4 challenges. James Madison lost to Louisville by 14. Tulane already lost 45-10 the first time to Ole Miss. So I didn't feel that there was any special G5 team this year, and I think that in some years you might not have that. So I was okay if we would have gone without the G5 this year. Definitely didn't need two of them, and that goes down to a bylaw that they had in there where the top 5 conference champs make it, rather than say the top 5 conferences be represented. I think you could have gotten around it by having Miami as your ACC rep instead of Duke. So yeah, a lot of issues with it this year. It ended up blocking Notre Dame from the bracket, a team I think really could have won a national title. They were rounding into form as one of the strongest in the country. So that's where I would stand with it. You don't have to have one every year, but make it possible if it really truly is a special team to have a chance.
Isn't the problem with that scenario, though, Brett, that we'll see the exact same thing that we had happen with Alabama happen pretty much every year, where we talk ourselves into a 2 or 3 or who knows however many lost power conference team? Like, they almost have to force you to include a group of 5 team if you're ever going to get one.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, in other years where there was a real G5 team, like what was Boise ranked last year? I think they might have placed into the top 12 on their own merits. I'm not sure. I'll double check. But I know those old Boise State teams in the 2000s and the TCU teams and even Cincinnati back in, 2018. They were able to make the top 12, the top 4 on their own merits. So, if you have more of a transparent ranking system, and give them away that way, that, hey, if you go undefeated or if you're 12-1 with a couple Power 4 wins, then there's definitely a clear path in there. But I think forcing the requirement, I think, I don't know. I get what you're saying, though, because behind closed doors, they might always find a way to block them. So I guess you got to just edit it so that you can't get 2 in there. How about that? I mean, in a year like this, there's no way that both those had to be in the bracket.
Don't you want to see at least another year or two to kind of collect data before we make any wholesale changes? Because I just have a feeling that the market is going to overcorrect too soon.
Yeah, that's been the case really since the polls era, since the 90s. It was always an overcorrection. It was, well, the pollsters are biased. We need the computers. Let's do this BCS formula that no one understands. So then that was the problem. Then it was, hey, this computer doesn't make sense. Let's bring pollsters back into it. And then 2 wasn't enough and 4 wasn't enough. Now they're talking about 12 not being enough. We need 16. We need 24. I agree with you. Let's take a deep breath. Let's pause where we are with 12. In fact, you know me, I'd rather go back in time a little bit, shrink this thing a little bit, but I know that will never get passed through with the TV money being generated. So realistically, yeah, let's stay at 12 for a while. And, maybe the answer to all of this problem this year was really the ACC's tiebreaker scenario, or the way that they determined their champion, because really Miami's the best team over there. It was ridiculous. You had UVA versus Duke playing in the conference title game. You could have avoided a lot of this problem had Miami played against Duke or UVA, won the game, gotten the automatic bid, and then you're talking about Notre Dame being in the bracket instead of Tulane or JMU.
Can I make the argument to you that the real problem here was the inclusion of Alabama? Like, did you think that Alabama deserved? And listen, I agree with you that 2 group of 5 teams did not need to be in. But the real problem with the Notre Dame part of the scenario, like, Alabama came limping into this playoff and were given a spot kind of despite getting their head kicked in by Georgia in the conference championship game. it seemed that, if I'm correct here, I think every other team was penalized at least a spot for losing their conference championship game, and Alabama was not. Like, isn't that sort of where the problem starts?
Yeah, I mean it's a tough situation. How do you evaluate a conference title loser? And that's we've talked about that for years. Where had they lost some other tiebreak scenario and not even played in the game, would they have made the bracket 10-2? I think definitely. So do you penalize them for losing the game? I think you kind of have to in a way. You watch the game happen; it happened, and they lost by 21 points to Georgia. But it's a tricky situation. You look at some examples last year, SMU. And they did not have anywhere near the resume of Alabama, but they went and lost to Clemson in the ACC title game, still earned a spot in the bracket despite the loss. But then you see the flip side this year with the BYU, who goes 11-2, both losses to Texas Tech, number 4 in the country, and they're thrown out of the bracket. So maybe some consistency or some statement about how they're going to treat conference title games going forward, especially how they treat the loser. If you look at Alabama's resume, though, they deserved it. I mean, they had beaten Georgia earlier in the year. They beat Vanderbilt by 16. They beat Mizzou and Tennessee, who at times were ranked. Lost close to Oklahoma. That's a tough one, but they had some signature wins on the season, and I think they were definitely deserving of a spot, in my opinion. And they went out and proved it against Oklahoma, won the rematch. Overcame a 17-0 lead, and now they got a shot against Indiana.
How the what ifs, man. Punt a ball and catch a pass. That game is so interesting for the future of Kalen DeBoer and how we view him based on how that game played out, I think. But let me ask you something, Brett, because Miami's kind of like my Illinois college basketball of the sport, where I love Illinois almost every year, and then I say, yeah, but this whole Underwood thing has been a thorn in my side. I'd make the case. I said this to Ravi a couple weeks ago. Every time Miami takes the field, they could make the case that they have the best offensive and best defensive player playing in said game every game they play, whether it's Tony, 2 first-round offensive linemen, and, of course, Bain defensively. So when should I or do I need to get over the Mario Cristobal thing? Because clearly – this team is extremely capable. I know they're catching a big number against the Buckeyes, but they can match up in the trenches and on defense. It will be hard on Sand.
Yeah, it really will. And when I wrote the preview for Miami versus A&M last week, I talked about lines of scrimmage, and they really stood out both sides of the ball. I ended up picking Miami. They proved me right there. I don't know what to do with them this week because they're going up against a tough counterpart here with Ohio State. But Ruben Bain against a solid A&M offensive line, he took over the game. He had 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, blocked that field goal early in the game, which ended up being crucial, those points. He's a game wrecker. They have other guys too, Akeem Mesidor, Bissanth at linebacker, Keontae Scott. There's so many.
Secondary's healthy now.
Yeah, secondary is healthy. Now they're going to be tested like they were last Saturday against A&M because you bring in Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Max Clare at tight end, and Julian Sand, who, I think that Marcel Reed has more mobility, and he showed that in the first half, but Sand has more pinpoint accuracy. He's on pace to set some completion percentage record, and so I think you're going to get more.
Reed left some yards out there, didn't he?
Yeah, and the first half he was crushing them with his legs, but then he ended up missing some open throws, got a little bit shaky, and credit Miami's defense for taking out that quarterback run game in the second half. I think they held him to like 1 yard per carry or something when it was all said and done when you factor in sacks. So, it's going to be a fascinating game. When I was writing this preview, I ended up going with Ohio State here to win and to cover barely by 10. I think until proven otherwise, I think they're still the team to beat. I know Indiana roughed them up pretty good, but, I like Ohio State here, the more complete team. But you're right, Miami, hey, it's Mario Cristobal. He catches a lot of flack, but he built this thing. He's the reason they're even this far. His recruiting, his talent acquisition, his transfers, his offensive line development, his coordinator hire on defense. So he deserves a lot of credit for getting them this far.
Time in nature is always a win. This winter, explore together at Lawrence and Gardens. Discover a new plant collection in the Marjorie K. Doherty Conservatory. Meet the larger-than-life trolls in Trolls, Save the Humans by Thomas Dambo, or see the garden light up during bright nights. It's the perfect game plan for a memorable winter break. Get tickets or plan your visit at lawrenceandgardens.org. Speaking of Indiana, they're a 7-point favorite against Alabama. Does that sound right to you?
I think it should be more. I think Indiana should be about a 9-10 point favorite. I see some value here with Indiana -6.5. So they're my pick to win it this week against Alabama. And, at the top of this, I was talking about Alabama's resume and that they overcame that 17-0 lead. But to Damon's point, a little bit fluky there. I mean, and people forget that Oklahoma dropped a wide open touchdown pass to would have made it 24-7 there, would have crushed any momentum Alabama was building. Got that ridiculous drop punt, 50-yard pick six. It was wild. So I don't know how good this Alabama team really is on a quarterfinal or a semifinal stage. My game grader has them 12th in the country overall. Meanwhile, Indiana 3rd overall, and top 10 in almost every stat category you could think of. Cignetti's had extra time to prep for it. I think Indiana's going to get it done here.
So the tightest line of the rest of the playoff bunch is obviously Oregon at Texas Tech. Listen, it's well documented, the front seven of what happens in Lubbock. But the game, though, it's Hard Rock Stadium, no real advantage, I don't think, for Tech having a home game. Who do you have more questions about, though, Oregon or Tech?
Well, yeah, I think I have questions about Texas Tech's offense. That's one part of the stat sheet that stands out. They might have some room to improve here, but overall, though, the way that Texas Tech has destroyed their schedule, 12 games, they've won 12 games, and all 12 are by 20-plus points. That's tied for an all-time record with 2018 Clemson. It's just blowout factor every week. I got to see them live in Lubbock against BYU, where they just suffocated their ranked opponent there. They did it again in the Big 12 title game. So my numbers love Texas Tech. In fact, I think the wrong team's favored. I think you should favor Texas Tech in this one. Oregon, I know they have the high-flying offense. They have some NFL draft picks. But when you look at Texas Tech, they had the most NFL draft watch list prospects coming into the season overall in the country, number one, with something like 20 draftable prospects. So they have talent of their own. I think Texas Tech, I think it's a special season. I think you had more rest time, and I'm going to go with Texas Tech to win it outright.
Brett, you said something interesting there, because I'm always trying to figure out what people think the talent levels of these individual teams are. You talked about preseason NFL draft watch lists. You talked about kind of current mock drafts. There's also certain recruiting services put together composites of what they think the talent is based on recruiting and transfer rankings. Like, how do you measure that when you're like working within your formula and your system to figure out, hey, which team do I think is actually more talented?
Yeah, well, I look at all those categories you mentioned. The key ones are your 5-year high school recruiting average. I look back at the last 5 classes, but nowadays you have to also look at the last couple transfer cycles too, because these players are moving so often. So, Oregon has them in the high school recruiting. It's been a phenomenal job by Dan Lanning, a ton of 4 stars, 5 stars. I think the TV broadcast last week, they talked about how there's 84 4 stars on Oregon's roster. Incredible talent acquisition. But Texas Tech caught up to them in the transfer cycle. They landed the number one class in the country this year. And then the last bit I look at is NFL draft watch list, like I touched on, where, it's one thing to sign them as recruits, but have you developed them? Are they playing at, a pro level, future pro level? Texas Tech, number one in the country in that category. So scouts are all over them. I trust the scouts. There's no bias with them. It's $1 billion operation. They're not going to fudge the numbers for recruiting rankings. They're trying to find the best players. So I think it's more even than you think. I know that Texas Tech is not your signing day powerhouse, but they've caught up from the transfer portal.
Yeah, I feel like it's another week and another question of me saying, how is Georgia still flying under the radar?
Yeah, for real. This is a team that won back-to-back national titles. They were the preeminent powerhouse to take over from Nick Saban, and all of a sudden they're just in the shadows all season. Nobody's talked about Georgia this year, and quietly their defense has really caught on. I mean, it's been pretty elite the last month or so. Defensively, Gunnar Stockton really resilient in the second halves of games, fourth quarters of games. You can't shake the guy. So yeah, I mean, I think that they're a solid team. Now they're going to be tested by Ole Miss, who I think quieted some rumors there. The people wondered how they play without Lane Kiffin, and they played almost the exact same score and stat sheet as the first time they played Tulane. It was 45-10 the first time. It was pretty much that here the second time. So I wonder if the Vegas line, if you're getting a little bit of value with Ole Miss here, I think a lot of times when a coach leaves, you see an overcorrection there in the number. So I think this is more a toss-up game, maybe Georgia by a field goal. So to see it come in -7, I think that's a little high in this one. It's going to be high scoring. I'm thinking maybe go Ole Miss +7.
Brett, which quarterback head coach combo do you trust the most of the teams that are left?
Well, it's kind of hard to argue with Indiana. I mean, you have Kurt Cignetti, who has led the biggest turnaround in college football history, arguably, in terms of from the losingest program in history up to a playoff contending undefeated team, and then the Heisman winner. So it's really hard to argue that. But maybe second, you'd go Kirby Smart with Gunnar Stockton, because Stockton, like I just said, has been so resilient this season. Kirby Smart, a multinational champion player, coach for Georgia. So that's probably the two I'd go with. I'd like to say Ohio State too with Ryan Day and Julian Sand, but he had a tough outing against Indiana, and I want to see them open up their playbook more like what they did last playoff bracket, where it was more downfield shots, more vertical passing. They reverted back into their shell a little bit against Indiana. I want to see them get back to the downfield passing.
Can I ask you, can we move away from playoff here for a second? And I do want to ask you about Nebraska and Utah. I find this matchup super interesting. You mentioned sort of the coach in flux situation with Ole Miss. Utah all of a sudden finds themselves.
I was joking when I talked about that a couple weeks ago.
With the very similar situation where not only do you have a coach leaving, you have the DC already named the successor as well, although Kyle Whittingham will be there for the bowl game. Is there anything interesting to you about that Nebraska-Utah game?
Yeah, well, you touched on it there, the coaching carousel deal where Kyle Whittingham, one of the longest tenured head coaches in college football, is stepping down. This is a team I get to cover each week for KSL.com. I do game previews for them with Utah and BYU. So I've been focusing on Utah for a while. I love their defense. And I think years ago, they actually hinted or even publicly announced that they were going to have Morgan Scalley take over as the coach in waiting. That time is here. Scalley, of course, a former safety for them back on the Urban Meyer and Whittingham teams that were the BCS busters, and he's really stayed at Salt Lake City the whole time through. He's a great coordinator. So I think that stands out. I think you're going to see them play with emotion and passion one last time for Whit. You're going to get their best shot, and this is a really strong Utah team. And if this was a 16-team bracket, guys, I mean, this is a team that could have made a serious run if they got hot. And you have one of the best offensive lines in the country, 2 first-round projections there on their O-line. They're top 10 in the O-line run push, top 10 pass protection, and their defense goes without saying. So it's going to be a tough battle for Nebraska, honestly, especially because they're going to be playing with so much emotion one last time for Whittingham.
Let me ask you something, B, about the game tonight with UNLV in Ohio. Seems like a clear coaching advantage for UNLV. Significantly better record. I'm not sure what you think about conference strength or schedule affiliation, but 6.5 seems super light. It seems like they're just begging you to take UNLV. It looks pretty easy. Then I look at the number and I was like, how does Ohio keep this within a score?
Yeah, they're going to have to play sound defense, red zone defense, all those sayings you always hear. And yeah, on paper, this one, if they were at full strength, I'd have it UNLV by 7 or 8. And quite honestly, I wait until right before kickoff to go look at the opt-out situation. So I'm looking at just the straight up number right now, and it looks like it's around a touchdown. So I'll have to dig in and see who's playing, who's opting out, and all those last second deals to try and shake out a number. But yeah, these bowl games, I mean, it comes down to the wire, who's in, who's out, who's transferring. So I'll check in later today and get the final report, but I think UNLV is the pick.
If you've got any auto body repair needs, you got to go see our friends over at Dingman's Collision Center, locally and family owned and operated. They're from Omaha, just like you, and they care about the community in the same way as well. That's why they invest not only in cutting edge technology, but also in ongoing training so their team can make sure every repair is done safely and to the highest standard. With 4 convenient Omaha area locations, there's a Dingman's Collision Center close to you. And the best part is they've been voted first place best of Omaha for 20 straight years for auto body repair. Go to dingmans.com to learn more, to schedule an appointment, and get your car taken care of. It's Dingman's Collision Center. Brett, before we let you go here, are there any other bowl games that you're particularly interested outside of the college football playoff?
Well, I was really excited for USC TCU, two teams that I was really high on this season. They were part of the Pick 6 Plus win total teams that went 6-1. Great offenses on both sides. I was really excited about it until Josh Hoover, the quarterback, opted out. So that's what I'm getting at is you just have so many opt-outs and head coaching changes. It's tough. I mean, these matchups all take a hit. Another one, Michigan, Texas, caught my eye until what happened over in Ann Arbor. I think the Pop-Tarts Bowl might have gotten one of the best matchups out there. No one talking about it. It's BYU, Georgia Tech, teams that were close to the playoff. They were in discussions for most of October and November, but came up short. BYU, another team I get to cover with KSL, and they've been fun to watch. So I'm going to go Pop-Tarts Bowl. And guys, has this become the favorite non-AQ, the favorite non-playoff bowl out there? It's just their marketing has been fascinating. Pop-Tarts Bowl is my pick for this one.
So I can't even. Are they Camping World?
Yeah, it's the old Florida Citrus FCS Sports, Florida Citrus Sports. So they run the
weather won't be a factor. That'll be good.
They run the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl as well. So they've really mastered the marketing down there. But yeah, it's in Florida. It's going to be good weather. It's going to look like a bowl game. They have the Pop-Tart themed helmets with the sprinkles on the logos. It's that's the kind of stuff you get excited for now before the playoff starts.
Who's the best remaining non-playoff team that you think will look the closest for kick?
Do you mean like the strongest?
Yeah, their regular season team.
Well, you're gonna hate hearing this, but I think Utah. I think Utah. No, I gotta check
the opt-outs up front.
Yeah, I gotta check their opt-out. Like I said, I'm looking at full strength numbers, and then I look at opt-outs right before kick. So, yeah, if they have opt-outs, then maybe not. I'm trying to think here.
What about Vandy?
Well, is Pavia playing? I guess that's the whole deal for them is because I don't think they have as many pro prospects as you'll find elsewhere. I think that they're just a very veteran team, and Clark Lee's gotten the most out of them. So I wouldn't expect a ton of opt-outs from Vanderbilt. It's all about whether Pavia plays. So I see that line's at 5 points. I assume that means he's playing.
That is Brett Ciancia from Pick 6 Previews. Brett, we appreciate the time. Hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, same to you guys. Thanks for having me. It's been a great season together.
It's the season of New Tradition sales event at our brand new Edwards Kia Council Bluffs location. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at just $249 a month. Brand new showroom, big holiday savings. Or lease the 2025 Kia Telluride S starting at $329 a month. Or finance at 0.9% for 60 months. Plus, every new purchase includes a free electric scooter. Don't wait. Celebrate the season at our brand new Edwards Kia location in Council Bluffs.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
We would spend for Borsheim's as our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker volleyball coach Danny Busboom-Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we'll look back on each other. Back on made us start to wonder. Don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call to make this last forever. One shot.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live College Football Playoff Edition. I'm Ravi, that's Rico. We are going over a little recap of our first round college football playoff games and looking into what we think is going to happen in the college football playoff quarterfinals. But Rico, how are we doing today? We doing all right?
We are doing fantastic.
You're doing fantastic.
At the time of this, this airing, even though we're super live right now,
very live airing.
This very live airing, I believe the Pop-Tarts Bowl will have concluded, and the winner was amazing. And I'm sure that the live mascot Pop-Tart tasted fantastic.
There's 3. They're eating 3 of them this year. Did you hear that?
3?
They're eating 3 live Pop-Tarts.
I didn't know they were eating 3.
Yeah, that's a borderline massacre.
I'm hyped.
That's a borderline massacre.
I'm hyped. 3 Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Different flavors.
Not even mad about it.
Different flavors. So that's going to be – listen, there's going to be a lot going on here. You know, there's going to be –
I mean, wild berry is the best flavor. It's really not even a competition. I don't care what anybody says. Wild berry is the best flavor. I also saw somebody had a flight of Pop-Tarts sent to them, and they were taste testing them. And, I mean, that's the goal. The goal is to become a Pop-Tart influencer.
I mean, that would kind of be a dream come true for me. You know, I consume a large amount of Pop-Tarts. I will say...
Yeah, I'm confused as to why you're not bigger on the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Oh, I love the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Huge Pop-Tarts Bowl guy. Who said I'm not big on the Pop-Tarts Bowl?
I don't know. Every time I bring it up, there's only one other person in the office that seems to have the same enthusiasm as I do. And last year when I said that there was merch, there was only one person who was jealous and also wanted to order it. And then I got this bad boy. Shout out to the Pop-Tarts Bowl Polo. We out here. And again, it was only one person. Shout out to David.
Yeah, you didn't work here last year.
No, when I got the Pop-Tarts Bowl Polo, I ordered it and I didn't get it until I started working there.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you did not work here last year. I was like,
no, I did not.
We did not have this conversation.
No. When I got the Pop-Tarts Bowl Polo,
okay,
it was not till honest. I didn't get it till like the summer. Like I ordered it and it took a while.
I do not recall the Pop-Tarts, the Pop-Tarts Bowl merch arriving. I apologize if I didn't show the proper level of enthusiasm. That's on me. You know?
How dare you?
No, I'm a big Pop-Tarts guy. I'm a big Pop-Tarts Bowl guy. I think it's a national treasure. I will say I'm going to do a quick power rankings of my favorite Pop-Tarts real quick here.
Ooh, okay.
And you can do this. I mean, you already said wild berry. Wild berry is a good flavor. It's fine. So I'm going to be honest with you. I've got a deep cut for maybe it's just I've got a couple deep cuts actually for maybe my two favorite Pop-Tart flavors of all time. And maybe it's just because they're not available anymore that I love them so much. There's like I can't have it anymore. Yeah. They came out with a Fruit Loops flavor of Pop-Tarts that was phenomenal. I mean, otherworldly good. And I there for a long time you could only get them at one certain gas station here in Omaha, and it was glorious. Every single time that I stopped, I would start going to that gas station just to get those particular Pop-Tarts. So Fruit Loops Pop-Tarts, and then here's the really deep cut. It is the orange slice flavored Pop-Tarts, which only existed briefly about a decade ago, but the orange slice flavored Pop-Tarts is, I mean, it was immaculate. It was the pinnacle of human achievement, possibly. And it doesn't sound like it would be good. Oh, but it works.
That sounds terrible.
It was. Listen, I was skeptical as well. And it was phenomenal. It was really, really good.
Okay.
So I'm just.
If you say so.
Yeah, I do say so.
Orange slice just sounds gross, and I'm not.
So good.
I'm just a basic Pop-Tart kind of guy. I mean, obviously, wild berry is number one, and then cherry is number two.
I'm a big cherry guy. I like strawberry as well.
Yeah, strawberry and blueberry are solid. Hot fudge sundae.
See, I'm a s'mores over hot fudge sundae guy. If I'm going chocolate, I'm
no.
s'mores.
So you go hot fudge sundae in the freezer, and then you eat it out the freezer.
I've never frozen Pop-Tarts
elite.
before. That seems wrong.
It does seem wrong. Like all the other ones, hot. I toast them and they're delicious. I mean, out the bag they're good, but toasted, strawberry and cherry are the most delicious. But hot fudge sundae, you put it in the freezer, eat it frozen, it'll change your life.
I'm gonna be honest with you. So, s'mores out the toaster is elite. S'mores out the toaster is the only one that I'll go out of my way to toast. Like,
that sounds pretty. That sounds great.
It's that much better. I will say, so I don't want to sleep on, just give the last one here. Can't sleep on brown sugar cinnamon either. Brown sugar cinnamon is a high quality Pop-Tart.
It is so basic and so bland that it's good in moderation. I've said it before that I had brown sugar cinnamon almost every single day in high school because it was the only one that was in the vending machine at school. So I got burnt out of brown sugar cinnamon. So I just can't. Like, I have it every once in a blue moon, and it's good, but it's not. I mean, it's
Bland is aggressive. I'm just gonna be honest. Bland is aggressive. That's a.
I mean, it's very basic. It's very just there. Like it's out of the pop. That's just there.
Okay. I mean, that feels disrespectful. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It feels disrespectful.
I apologize to no one except for my Pop-Tart overlords if they care deeply about it.
Now you're not going to get the care package because you don't have respect for the Pop-Tarts.
It's one flavor, all right? Watch it just be brown sugar cinnamon. I'd be like, oh, they got me.
They send you a care package and it's only brown sugar cinnamon.
I would deserve that. I would understand.
You would. I'm going to see if I can make that happen behind the scenes, actually. I'm just going to try and back channel. And so you get only brown sugar cinnamon gear and swag.
I'd cry a little bit, but we're not here to talk about the people's national championship. We're here to talk about the actual national championship games leading up to the national championship.
What's with the quotes?
Actual, because it's the Pop-Tarts Bowl is the people's national championship. People love that game more than any of the other ones.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Centris Federal Credit Union, because they can help you get your savings on the right track. Everybody's got financial goals that they're trying to reach, and Centris is there to help you out with all their different savings programs. It starts with their Roundup program. Every time you use your Centris Visa debit card, they'll round up to the next whole dollar and transfer that money directly to your savings account. Makes saving easy, even while you have to spend. They also have great programs like their certificate and savings account bundle to help you gain a little more ground while you're saving money. Learn more and visit them online, centrisfcu.org. Terms and conditions applied. Federally insured by NCUA. So let's start with the first round real quick here, because I think I think the lines have been drawn in the sand. Camps have been divided with the group of five thing a little bit, with the group of five teams getting in.
What side are you on?
So I'm pro group of five.
Uh-huh.
I am pro group of five. No, there's no but. Here's why. Okay? I believe that unless you're going to break off the power conferences, which I'm fine with if they decide to do, but unless you're going to break off the power conferences and just be like, hey, we're our own thing. Like, we are our own thing. There are 3 high divisions of college football. It is Power 4, Group of 5, and then FCS. Unless you decide to do that, there has to be access for all the teams in the same division to the playoff. That is an absolute non-negotiable in my mind, right?
I don't disagree with that.
If you're going to be the playoff for the entire division has to have access. That is just common sense to me. And if you're going to, it can't be like that where it's like, oh, well, if they happen to be ranked high enough, they'll get in, because the committee, who I am on the record do not trust, I think they are clowns, and they reinforced their clownitude with the Alabama pick this year.
Clownitude?
You can't go by the results. The results don't change the resume, right? Like, nobody's arguing that Alabama isn't talented and that they couldn't win any individual game. The argument is they did not earn the spot throughout the course of the season, and I stand by that argument. Notre Dame had the better resume than Alabama. And the conference championship games have to matter. If they're going to matter to get teams in, then they can also matter to keep teams out. Back in the day,
if it mattered to keep other teams out, it should have mattered against Alabama to keep them out.
And it mattered in the seeding and the placement of every single other team that lost their conference championship, including Ohio State, which dropped from 1 to 2. So
it kept BYU out of the playoff because they got smoked in the Big 12 championship game.
Absolutely.
Alabama gets smoked in the SEC championship game, and the committee's like, yeah, but
we cool.
It's fine. It's fine. And for the entire season, they've been. It's not, or for quite a while, for multiple seasons, it hasn't been like how many losses. It's when the losses happen, not how bad it's when the losses happen. That's how they've always done it. You lose early in the season. If you win out, then it's like, whatever. Those losses didn't happen. It happened to Notre Dame, last year?
Last year.
Where they lost to Northern Illinois?
Yeah.
Northern Illinois, but they won out the rest of the season. It was like, that loss didn't happen. Like Alabama, they lost early and then they lost late, and the committees just thought, it's Alabama. We don't really need to. We shouldn't move them because we want them in because the SEC runs the ESPN.
They lost the first game of the season, a bad loss to Florida State. Full stop. That's a bad loss. They lost to Oklahoma, not a bad loss. And then they got smoked by Georgia, but in the meantime, they almost got beat by a very mediocre Auburn team as well. So they're not playing well. Lost 2 of their last 4 and had their only good win in that stretch, quote unquote, is a 56-0 win over notable powerhouse Eastern Illinois. So
yeah, but they look good.
Here's the other thing that matters, especially with the SEC when we're talking about championship games and whether or not they should be held against them. It is important to remember that the SEC championship game was the 9th conference game for Alabama. Every other, like all the Big Ten teams, had played their 9 conference games. Alabama did not get its 9th conference game until they played in the SEC championship. So I shouldn't hold it against them that they play in a backwards conference that only plays 8 conference games? No. That absolutely should count, because otherwise I'm giving you way too much credit for, let's see, Eastern Illinois, UL Monroe, and where's my other scrub? Oh, yeah, bad Florida State, right? Like
who you lost to.
Yes, who you lost to. So, like, you can't give me this nonsense about, like, oh, well, that was only their 9th conference game. It was Ohio State's 10th, and we held it against them. It was Ohio State's 10th conference game, and they got dinged for it. It was Alabama's 9th conference game, and they didn't get dinged for it. It's no different than back in the day when some teams would play 12, some teams would play 11, and your record was what it was. Nobody was like, well, you didn't have to play the 12th game, so we should get credit for being 11-1. No, sorry, bud. You lost the game. You're out.
You don't get it.
That's all it is. This is how it's always been. It is so first of all, sham. And this is why I don't trust the committee, going back to the group of 5 thing. So you have to put things in place that group of 5 teams get automatic access. I strongly believe that. Now,
although apparently they're going backwards from that.
Yes, because they're stupid and they cannot be trusted. And here's the other part about that is you absolutely 100% cannot have – sorry, I knocked on the table there. My dog started barking. You absolutely cannot have the television network with a vested financial interest in some conferences and not the others be the owner of the playoff system.
That's a problem. That's a huge problem.
Just full on
full
corruption.
stop.
Like there's
full stop. That's a problem.
There's at best, it is conflict of interest. At best. At worst, and most likely, it's full on corruption. So, like that cannot happen. But I think we're too far down that road. So in the meantime, you have to have automatic spots for group of 5 teams. Otherwise,
do you think
just break off the whole other division?
Yeah. Do you think? And I didn't even. Until you mentioned that the whole ESPN and I'll call them out. ESPN owning the college football playoff. Could that have been another reason why Notre Dame wasn't allowed in? Well, didn't get in aside from just their record overall. Do you think that the 4-letter network owning the college football playoff and Notre Dame being a notable CBS team could have done something with that?
I think it was more to do with rewarding the schools in their conferences than it was keeping out Notre Dame. I think it had more to do with – now, it might have been like sort of a bad –
But that's that side has nothing to do with the group of 5s. This is Alabama, Notre Dame. Alabama getting smoked in the SEC championship. Notre Dame Notre Dame and Miami being those next teams up. Miami gets in. Notre Dame does not.
Miami, part of the ACC, also in bed with ESPN. It doesn't get as much fun as the SEC getting in bed with ESPN, but ACC Network is an ESPN network.
Is that why BYU? Because BYU, Big 12 is Fox, isn't it?
Big 12 is Fox. I think they still have secondary ESPN, but it is not a primary network. And same thing with the Big 10 has no ESPN ties whatsoever anymore.
Yeah.
And so you look at this and you go, okay, this cannot be – that's why I was an advocate of the model of, hey, this conference gets this many, this conference gets this many, even if the numbers are not even, I still think that is a more fair plan to go, say, 4 SEC, 4 Big 10, 3 or 2 ACC, 2 Big 12. How many am I?
And that's your powers.
Yeah, then it's
8, 9, 10. That's 12. So you need 2 group of 5s.
Yeah, you get 2 group of 5s or 2 group of 5s or Notre Dame, basically.
Yeah,
is the setup.
The Notre Dame. Well, I mean, now Notre Dame's just getting automatic access if they're ranked in the top 12.
12, yeah. And so
that's you can't. As a major corporate, you can't get bullied by a school. I mean, you cannot let a major university bully you into letting them into into the playoff. You can't sit there and have a team say, well, you didn't let us in. We're taking our ball and going home. And you know what? We're not going to play anymore unless we have a guaranteed spot to play. And then you as a major corporation are like, you know what? We're sorry. We didn't mean to. We'll bring you. Like, that's ridiculous. Win your games.
I also don't totally and listen, I thought Notre Dame should have been in over Alabama, so I want to make that clear.
I mean, so do I, but join a conference.
But I also don't understand what the benefit is for ESPN to cave there. Like I don't unless Notre Dame threatened to join the Big Ten and say, hey, we're going to go to your biggest competitor and your biggest television competitor unless you make this carve out for us, because they're not ever joining the ACC full time. That's not happening.
No.
The ACC is just sort of a convenient scheduling partner and a nice landing spot for their sports that they don't care about. Like
the ACC is Notre Dame's friend with benefits / booty call.
No, it is their safety net. They're that's the conference. They're always like, if we ever call, they're answering.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're at the bar. They have it. Nobody's caught their eye. Nobody's come up to them and offered to buy them a drink, and they're not going home with anybody. So they call up the ACC and be like, hey, I need a warm bed to sleep in.
Yeah, they're basically the, hey, if we're not married by 40, let's
it's me and you.
Let's think about this. But Notre Dame's just gonna be like, well, I'm still living my life pretty good at 40. What about 45? And ACC's like, yeah,
let's just keep pushing this back.
That still sounds great. And they're like, I'm still living my life pretty good at 45. What about 50? And the ACC's like, we would love that. We still get to hang out sometimes. Until then,
the ACC is like putting money in Notre Dame's account.
Yeah, they're like, do you need a little cash? Do you need some?
Do you need something? I'm right here.
Do you need a ride to the airport? We can give you a ride to the airport to go see your boyfriend. Do you need a ride to the airport?
You guys can stay in my guest room.
Yeah, it's like, no, you guys stay in my room. I'll sleep on the couch. It'll be fine.
No, yeah. You stay in my room. I'll sleep on the couch. It's okay. I'll make you. Do you guys want pancakes in the morning?
I'll make breakfast. I make a mean pancake, right? Like, so that's the ACC. The ACC is
whatever,
for sure, being taken advantage of. There's a word for that, but I don't think I can say it here. So the ACC is for sure being taken advantage of, and they're totally okay with it. But I wonder if ESPN's play is keep Notre Dame happy so they don't join the Big Ten. Because that's really the only realistic option for Notre Dame in terms of joining a conference. They're the only one they
like if they're not going to join.
They're not joining the SEC.
They're never going to join the SEC. They're not going to join the ACC like we just kind of went down. The Big 12 is out of the question. No. The Big 10 is the only one. But then I can see why Notre Dame wouldn't want to, because then they would have to share the love with Ohio State and Michigan and Indiana now and Oregon.
And USC.
And USC. Which they didn't up their rivalry game with.
Yeah, they paused it. It's on pause because they had to.
That's dumb.
They had to play BYU apparently.
That's dumb.
So, but
that's there. So the shillelagh just stays at Notre Dame until 2030.
Apparently, but like if you're Notre Dame, there's absolutely no reason to join a conference if you can get ESPN to make these concessions, right? So. Like, I understand it on their part because they're getting their cake and they're eating it too. So, like, the point to all this is, back to the group of five part of the conversation, is the committee cannot be trusted without guardrails because the committee is bought and paid for literally by ESPN. I don't mean that in a, like, they're owned by ESPN. And so.
It's true.
Like, yeah, they're literally owned by ESPN. I don't know any other way to put it. And so they cannot be trusted to make fair, unbiased decisions without guardrails. Now, if you're like, hey, these teams do not belong, that's fine, but then start your own thing. Just make it your own thing. Those are your options. Either make it inclusive for everybody in the division you're claiming this national champion represents, or go do your own thing so that playoff represents that group instead. I'm fine with either, but it cannot be a combination of both. One or the other, that's the only viable option here.
Yeah. I hate these teams do not belong and they shouldn't be in the playoff argument that people have. Like, you get a couple blowouts and that was my rough thing is I'm also a group of 5 advocate, and I think the group of 5 belongs in the college football playoff, and they deserve representation because they're playing football too. They're playing football at a high level as well. But these 2 blowouts from James Madison and Tulane, it kind of hurt my group of 5 narrative a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
But there have been many a Power 5, Power 4 school that have been blown out in the first round of the playoffs. I think people often forget Michigan State getting shut out by Alabama in the first round of the playoffs when it was a 4-team playoff. Oklahoma has played many a tight game, but it seems like they just every time they make the playoffs they lose in the first round. Like
I think
just because you make the playoffs, just because you make the playoffs, like you haven't won one time. Like, and everybody say things like, oh, well, what about these? It doesn't matter. You've made the playoffs, which congratulations, you made the playoffs. You haven't won a single time. So, I mean, James Madison made the playoffs, they lost. Tulane made the playoffs, they lost, whatever. But these group of 5 teams have worked hard. They've beaten some Power 5 teams as well. It's not like these Power 5 teams all of the Power 5 teams are avoiding the group of 5 in the regular season. They're playing them. Some of these group of 5 teams are beating them, and that's why they deserve to be in these playoffs. Anything can happen. I mean, I understand that James Madison, the closest they got was after the scoring started was about down 21 points in late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, and then Oregon kind of stepped on their necks. But
I mean, they lost by 17, which is closer than the Tulane Ole Miss game was, and closer.
Exactly,
than, like you said, a lot of the power conference teams have been even in later rounds.
Mm-hmm. And Tulane, I don't know if you watched it or how many people watched it, but me watching that game, that first drive for Tulane, they were moving it. It took Ole Miss 3 plays to get down and score, but then Tulane is moving down the field, and multiple times their drives they were moving down the field, and a play here, a play there, the interception thrown by Retzlaff, and obviously those things happen in every game to every team, but it's not it. I think the game was probably a little bit closer for a couple of quarters than the score indicated, but then it kind of got away from him towards the end.
Here's the other thing, and then we can move on to the second round here, but here's the other thing that I think is important about having the group of 5 teams be included. If you're not going to break off the power conference divisions from the group of 5 divisions, the haves versus the have-nots, if you will. And by the way, there's some teams in power conferences that would get cut off. I want to make that clear. I feel like the Iowa States of the world would get cut off into the group of 5s, right? I think there's the Colorado would be in deep, deep concern of being cut off into a group of 5. Frankly, in their financial state, UCLA would be in a lot of trouble, a lot of danger of being cut off into a group of 5. It's not.
Rutgers would be in trouble. Purdue would be in trouble. Kentucky at this point would be in trouble.
Kentucky would get included because of basketball, but
you could do a whole your group of 5 here, but you're a power conference in basketball.
Maybe. I mean,
it happens.
It depends on how scorched earth they go if they were to go that route. There is a version of that where they're just hey, NCAA, you have no power over us anymore, and then they're not included in the NCAA tournament anymore. But
they are an SEC school, so
that's a whole other conversation. But my point is, it would not be nearly as clean as we think it would be. But until that point, part of the reason that the college football playoff is important is you make money off of that. That's how we see NCAA tournament basketball teams elevate themselves from, hey, that's a nice one-time Cinderella, to, oh, this is actually sort of a real program. Now, I think they need to increase the payouts to make that viable in college football, because college basketball is cheaper to operate than college football is, just from the sheer numbers standpoint. But, that's how Gonzaga became Gonzaga. They had a couple nice runs early, and then you get payouts for multiple years after that initial run. And it can kind of buoy your program for several years, especially if you make run after run after run, the way some of these teams have. And it gives you a huge advantage and a huge kind of springboard to start financially building your program up into something more. And that is my goal for the group of 5 teams being included in the college football playoff is if you have a team that has consistent success, like Boise State in like the mid to late 2000s, right? That's a team that could have very easily buoyed itself, if there was a college football playoff back then, into being a power conference team, or seen as a power conference team, and having the ability to basically be the Gonzaga of college football. Now, this current structure didn't exist then, so they never got that chance. But Boise State would have beat some teams in the college football playoff. I have zero doubt about that in my mind.
And I mean they did kind of build upon that Fiesta Bowl to have multiple years of really good football, and they weren't in there. There was no playoff, and there was no way that they were going to be high enough up in the computers makeup to actually play for any type of national championships. But they did use that the cameras, the TV, the eyes that were on them in that Fiesta Bowl to bring in better recruits and to build themselves into a really good the class of the Mountain West for a while there.
And I'm talking about a much more tangible, hey, you make the college football playoff.
Oh, you actually get cash.
And each game, because that's how it works in the NCAA tournament. For each game you win, you get more money. And those payments go on. I think it's a 3-year payout. You get money for 3 years following, I believe, at least this is how it used to be. I think it still is. You get money for 3 years following those wins and those round advancements. So, like, it can make a huge, huge difference in a program's ability to elevate itself. And so that's, like, if we're going to do this, I know Joel Klatt came out with his idiot take about college basketball tournament versus college football tournament. And then he, like, hedged it, and he's like, I'm sorry, it was a bad take. But, like, he kind of landed on the idiot take still. And it's like, all right, we can't really apologize and then, like, double down on your dumbass take, but whatever.
He's like, I'm sorry, that was a bad take, but I kind of still stand by it.
I'm sorry I said the dumb thing that I definitely believe out loud, and I'm going to say it again.
Yeah, it's one of those, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings.
It's like, I'm sorry people got mad at me for this very dumb thing that I actually believe. Like, that's all it was. But, like, that is, like, there are parallels you can take from the NCAA basketball tournament that can apply. Not everything, but that can apply. And I think the payouts and the ability to elevate your program through advancements in the playoff is one of those things. That being said, there are no more Group of Fives playing. We've got 4 games coming up on this, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, which is New Year's Eve, New Year's Day is the best college football time of the year.
Yes.
I think, especially growing up when we grew up. I'm a little older than you, but like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day was like, that's it. Like that is like
this is football.
Yeah, like that's the stuff, right? Like the NFL people that are like, we love Conference Championship Sunday or whatever. Like January 1st, where you're just like, oh man, we got Orange Bowl. It used to be Orange Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl. Were all basically on like 2 days.
Well, and then was it Cotton Bowl,
Citrus Bowl, which I think is now the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
I say there's one because it was the New Year's 6. There's one more. Fiesta, Rose, Fiesta Rose,
Sugar,
Orange, Cotton.
I thought it was the Capital One Bowl.
I thought that was just one of them.
I thought it was the Capital One Bowl. I could be wrong. It's that holiday season, and people start thinking, maybe it's time to get a little head start on our New Year's resolutions. And one way you can get a jump start on that is by going to our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical. Whatever it is that you need to get feeling your best, whether it's weight loss, whether it's testosterone therapy, peptides, maybe you just need a little vitamin B boost to get to feeling like yourself again, Next Gen has you covered. And it's not just for men. I know it says male in the title there, but they treat women as well for all the same issues, hormones, peptides, whatever men or women need to get to feeling their best. Next Gen Male Medical has you covered. Give them a call, 402-614-9700. It is not just another place that's going to say, hey, you need these hormones or whatever. They're going to talk to you, see what you want to feel your best and what you feel like your best is, and they'll help you find a plan to get there. And it's Next Gen Male Medical. Again, 402-614-9700.
It's the Capital One Orange Bowl.
Well, there was different things because it used to be the FedEx Orange
Yeah.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Their Capital
Well, it
One
used to be the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
I know, Nokia Sugar Bowl. Anybody? Yeah?
Yeah. Oh.
I love me a Nokia Sugar Bowl. I thought there was a different one before I thought Capital One had its own
Rose, sugar, orange, peach.
Peach Bowl. Of course. Wrong fruit.
People forget the Peach Bowl. There's a lot of fruit going on.
You got citrus, we got peach, we got orange. Peach Bowl. I forgot about the Peach Bowl. Yeah, so like
the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Like those were like the deal. Having those 6 games on one day was incredible. Like peak entertainment. So I'm very nostalgic for having great football games on January 1st. But let's start off with Ohio State and Miami. That is the largest.
The first game.
Yeah, that is the largest spread here. That's the only the December 31st game.
Yep. Night game, the nightcap.
6:30 p.m. December 31st. You can watch that after Nebraska and Utah, and after we hit you up with our final Hail Varsity postgame show of the season. And
it's going to be great.
Miami, Ohio State. Ohio State's a 9.5-point favorite, which I can't tell if that's right or seems like too much. I really don't. I have DB kept asking me this question about, can I make the argument that Miami has the best player on offense and the best player on defense pretty much every game it walks into? And you certainly can make that argument. There's multiple players on offense you can make that argue for, and then Ruben Bain is almost certainly always the best player on whatever field he is defensively. So
I don't think you can make that argument for this game, though.
I mean, I think you can make the argument that there's players as good on the defensive side. I don't know that you can make the argument that there's anybody clearly better than Ruben Bain on Ohio State's defense. I know Caleb Downs.
Ruben Baines is going to be the best player defensively on the field for either team, but offensively, I think that Ohio State probably has claim to top 2.
You're taking Jeremiah Smith and who else?
Either Sane or Bo. I really like Bo Jackson, not Auburn Bo Jackson, Ohio State Bo Jackson.
No, I get that. I'm sort of like, it's not saying it. Like, it's not saying like Julian Sayin is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but like literally every quarterback at Ohio State does this. So I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like,
I get that.
Show me the last Ohio State quarterback to be bad.
I got nothing.
Like, Kyle McCord was good. Like, Kyle McCord put up good numbers.
Whoa, calm down there.
One-time almost Husker Kyle McCord.
Yeah, calm down.
But like Kyle McCord was good. Will Howard was good. Like, just like C.J. Stroud was good. Justin Fields was good, who apparently is not good at all in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Ohio State just knows how to develop quarterbacks.
Maybe, but a lot of those guys don't end up being good when they leave, so it sort of just seems like an Ohio State thing.
No, I would go Jeremiah Smith and Bo Jackson are probably 1-2. But then, like, Tony is a beast. Tony is a beast. Fletcher, against A&M, Fletcher had some massive runs.
Yeah. I mean, I know that his numbers on the season aren't crazy. He was splitting time with Charmar Brown for a lot of that as well. But, like, Tony's really good. I mean, if you want to go, there's a couple of their linemen that are phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to – I know this is probably a hot take.
Oh.
I'm not, like, as enamored with Jeremiah Smith as everyone else is.
Oh, my gosh.
He's very good at football. Don't get me wrong. But
my
again,
gosh.
Like, look at the receivers that Ohio State's produced in the last decade. Like,
yeah, because they have a really good receivers coach, and they're really good at finding talent.
No, I get
like
that.
Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate are amazing.
No, I get they're very good, but, like, you're telling me they're, like, we're 100% sure they're better than, like,
Chris Olave
was, Chris Olave, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, you just, like,
go on.
A laundry list.
You can just keep naming them.
Like, if I just name an NFL receiver, it's probably an Ohio State guy.
It's either Ohio State or LSU. Like that's really the two.
Alabama had a little run there, and that's about it.
Oh yeah, Alabama too.
So it's just like, again, it's sort of the quarterback thing where it's like, listen, they're all good. Don't get me wrong. But I could make the argument Jeremiah Smith's not even the best Ohio State receiver in the last, 4 years.
That's true, but if we're still just talking about, on this field, on the field on December 31st at 6:30,
I get that.
The best offensive player would be Jeremiah Smith. And it's not just based on, the numbers he's put. It's just, physically and everything that he's able to do. You put him on any team in the country, and he's the best offensive weapon.
So that's kind of my point, is I feel like we elevate Jeremiah Smith to this level of being otherworldly when he's very, very good, and I'm not going to deny he's very, very good, and he might be the best offensive player on the field against Miami on the 31st. But my point is, I think it's way closer between him and, Tony than people are willing to give it credit, because they're like, oh, it's Jeremiah Smith. It can't be anywhere close. I was like, I feel like it's close.
So I'm going to push back here, obviously, as you know. I'm going to push back here because Tony and what he's doing. Shut up. Tony and what he's doing, you know what that reminds me of?
What?
Freshman Jeremiah Smith.
Cool.
I think he's on the same path, but as of right now, I think Jeremiah is still he's better than it. He's I guess I won't push back as much, not much better, but he's clearly better.
Here's the other thing you have to think about with Jeremiah Smith, is you can literally never double team him and never have been able to. The other receivers at Ohio State have always been so good. That is an advantage of being Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. That's different than being Malachi Toney at Miami. You don't
but you could say
Cornell Tate at Miami.
Yeah, but you could say, again, and this is, we're going back now, you could say that the same with, all the other wide receivers at Ohio State, and they've proven they are that good. Even the number 2 options have proven they are that good. And I think that him being a freshman last year, he's only a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, being a freshman last year and still sticking out to the level that he did with the receivers that were around him, I think that kind of proves maybe how good he actually is the fact that he's surrounded by these good receivers, but he sticks out.
Yeah, I don't think he sticks out. I think he's the guy that's left after you've covered everybody else. And listen, that's not to say he's not really, really good. I don't want people to hear me say that. My point is, when you are an Ohio State receiver, whether you're Jackson Smith-Njigba or Jeremiah Smith or Cornell Tate or Chris Olave or Emeka Egbuka, whoever, I made the argument last year that Egbuka was the best wide receiver on that team at Ohio State last year, and I still don't think I'm wrong. Egbuka was incredible, and he went in the NFL and was immediately great. And so all of these receivers are at a certain level. I want that to be clear. They're all NFL caliber, first round caliber receivers. The point is, I don't think Jeremiah Smith is above them. I think Jeremiah Smith is the next in line of the great first-round, awesome NFL receivers coming out of Ohio State. I do not think he is something extraterrestrial that we have made him out to be in the last 2 years. I think he is basically the exact same thing we have seen from Ohio State receivers in the last 5 to 7 years, which is, again, great receivers, but I don't think he's special apart from them. You're going to tell me he's going to be better in the NFL than Jackson Smith-Njigba?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
If he is, cool, but if we weren't saying, my point is, we weren't saying these things about those guys. They're they're great receivers, they're going to be first-round talents, but we're not best player on every offensive field he's ever going to be on. Nobody was saying that about these other guys. That's my point. We lift up Jeremiah Smith to a level that doesn't make any sense to me if we didn't lift up all those other guys who arguably were as good, if not better. That's my point.
But were they this good their sophomore years?
A lot of them, yeah. A lot of them, Jackson Smith-Njigba was unbelievable.
He was great. Remember when I think that was him, made that, or no, that was Emeka Egbuka, made that catch in the back of the end zone against Nebraska?
Yeah,
his freshman year.
Emeka Egbuka was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Ohio State's just really good at finding receivers. Anyways, they're going to smack Miami. 9.5 points. You said it might be too much. I don't think it's enough. Based on what they put on tape against Texas A&M, who, look, that's a really good Texas A&M squad. But and it was a wind tunnel down at Kyle Field. But neither one of these teams is Ohio State. And I know we just talked about how Miami has some really good players, but as a whole team, as a whole conglomerate, I think Ohio State, even though they lost their wide receiver coach / offensive coordinator, I think they're gonna roll. Ryan Day's taking over offensive play calling duties for the Buckeyes, going right back to his roots. I think they're gonna be solid. I don't think 9.5 is enough. Ohio State's moving on to the semis.
Can I be honest? If it weren't for the Carson Beck, Mario Cristobal of all this, I'd feel way more like maybe picking them to cover. But I don't trust Carson Beck. I don't trust Mario Cristobal not to do something stupid. Like, even if I think Miami's talent's incredible, and Miami's defense is really, really, really good.
They're solid.
Like, I just do not trust. Like, that's the quarterback head coach combination I trust the absolute least. So I'm not going to fight you on Ohio State covering. I cannot trust that combo of Carson Beck and Mario Cristobal. Can't do it. I
trust Carson Beck. I think he's, in terms of like winning percentage, like one of the most winningest quarterbacks in college football history. I think he's only lost like 3 or 4 games in his entire college football career. Something like that. Maybe it's like 6. He hasn't lost double-digit games in his college football career.
Sure,
Granted, it started at Georgia, so that kind of helps.
That helps. Yeah.
But I think Carson Beck is a solid quarterback. If it wasn't for Mario Cristobal, I would have more faith in Carson Beck.
Here's the problem with Carson Beck is there are games where he's just gonna give the other team like 3 opportunities to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the problem with Carson Beck, and you never know when it's gonna be. And you never know when you never know what game it's going to be. You never know when those opportunities are going to come. So that's why I throw him in there. I'm higher on Carson Beck than most people are. I like his ability to bounce back from those 3 devastating, idiotic mistakes he makes every game, or a lot of games. And sometimes they bite him, sometimes they don't. So I'm with you at Ohio State's covering. If I had more confidence in the QB and head coach, I'd consider much longer about a Miami. At least cover, if not potential upset. But let's move on to our January 1st games. We'll just go in chronological order here. We've got Oregon and Texas Tech kicking things off at 11 a.m. in the Capital One Orange Bowl.
This is my favorite game.
I like to call it the FedEx Bowl or the FedEx Orange Bowl. Still, back to my roots.
This is my favorite game of the 4.
Favorite matchup?
This is my favorite.
Okay, why is that?
Because I think that they both have amazing defenses, and they're going to get after the quarterbacks, and they're extremely fast on defense. But I don't think either defense has enough to keep up with either offense. I think this is going to be a track meet, and I am so excited to see what the final score is going to be.
This is the closest line of all the games. We just went from the biggest line to the smallest one. Oregon is a 1.5-point favorite. I think I just like Texas Tech straight up here.
Really?
I think Texas Tech's going to win this game. I don't know.
I don't. No, I don't agree. I think Oregon's got this one. I think Oregon has more firepower offensively, and I think that they just have more speed on both sides of the ball to get past this Texas Tech team. Plus, they're feeling good. They know what happened. I think it was last year. They were a top 4 seed. They ended up losing right away, as none of the top 4 seeds last year, which I think people forget about. None of the top 4 seeds last year won. They all lost.
Was idiotic last year.
Yeah, but still, like, all of the top 4 teams lost. So that's something that we should keep our eyes on. I just think Oregon's they've got the experience. And I think they've got more weapons than Texas Tech. Again, I think it's going to be a track meet. I think it's going to be up and down. First team to make a mistake is going to feel the pain and agony of a loss, in my opinion. And I think that Texas Tech is going to be that first team.
I think Texas Tech is way more talented than you're giving them credit for, and that I think they are I think it's hard for us to imagine, but I think they are every bit as talented as Oregon. And I think I'm taking them to win straight up. Give me the Red Raiders.
They are the best team that money can buy.
They 100% are, and money can buy a pretty good team. That's what we have found out.
That's exactly what in this new day and age. That's exactly what you got to do. Give me the Ducks, though.
If you can get them to mesh, you can find yourself a pretty good football team with the right amount of money. Got to love that oil money out there in Lubbock. All right, next up we have Alabama and Indiana. This one is fascinating because it seems like the biggest mismatch because of the names. Like it's really hard to get past the names. It's Alabama versus Indiana. Like it is really, really difficult to convince.
Like if this was a basketball matchup, this would hit hard.
Like yes, but there was back in 1999 when Florida State was playing Virginia Tech for the national championship. Bobby Bowden had this quote during the kind of the run up to the game. They were interviewing and stuff, and he's old at that point, so he's saying stuff he probably shouldn't. But he said, "I could not convince my guys that this team was every bit as good as a Miami or a Florida or a Nebraska." He's like, because of the logo on their helmets, I could not convince them that Virginia Tech was every bit as good as those teams. And I wonder, I wonder how much of that exists at Alabama. Like, I know, especially because those SEC people do not respect Big Ten football.
No.
And so they're
especially not Big Ten football at Indiana.
So that's the thing. You know what I bet these Alabama people are saying to themselves right now? And maybe it's just fans. Maybe it's not Kalen DeBoer because, he kind of grew up in this neck of the woods.
DeBoer's smarter than that.
But so was Bobby Bowden, and he couldn't convince his guys that Virginia Tech was just as good as Miami or Florida or Nebraska. And so I sit here and I go, all right, Alabama and the guys that play at Alabama have no respect for the Big Ten. They probably are thinking to themselves, if Indiana played in the SEC, they'd have 3-4 losses. Right? That's probably that's
definitely what they're saying.
I've heard fans say this. Right?
Yeah.
I've heard fans say, Ohio State would take 3 losses in the SEC. Or, Indiana would be a 4-loss team in the SEC. That's like, okay, cool. Well, you let Texas just walk in and win the conference last year, but whatever.
And smoke you in year one.
You let Oklahoma come in and make it to the playoff this year, which Oklahoma was in bad shape coming into the conference. So whatever, man. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to convince yourselves. I wonder how hard it's going to be for Alabama, even as underdogs in this game, 7-point dogs, to convince themselves that Indiana is every bit as good as they are.
It's one of those things where you've heard coaches say after the games, a team that clearly was not an underdog or shouldn't have been an underdog. They were betting against us all season. They didn't think we'd be here. It's going to be one of those probably Kalen DeBoer's trying to convince his guys they don't have faith in you. They don't think you're going to win. But I don't see this Alabama team taking this Indiana team seriously, and that's going to be their downfall. They're going to feel like they're walking into this game like we're playing the Indiana Hoosiers in football, piece of cake. We're Alabama. We're all 5 stars. We all came here because this is the place you win championships. That's a basketball school. We ain't got to worry about that. I bet that's some of the argument that Kalen DeBoer is trying to fight off. And I think that's going to be the downfall. Indiana Hoosiers. Hoosiers.
I also think Indiana's maybe the number one team in the history of number one team who is actually a little bit right when people are like, yeah, nobody thought we could do this. Yeah, if Indiana wins a national championship, they're right. They're 100% right. Nobody thought they could do this. I mean,
they'll be the 1 seed that's not that just nobody thought we could be here. They said we shouldn't be here, and people are like, you're a 1 seed. Everybody thought that's not true.
It's not true. A couple years ago when Georgia won their back-to-back, and they're like, everybody counted us out. It's like, no, they didn't. You're Georgia.
Nobody did that, Kirby.
You started number 1. You ended number 1. You haven't lost in 3 years. Nobody counted you out. Indiana would be correct. This is the only time, favored in this game, number 1 seed overall, number 1 team in the country. I will allow them to play the nobody believed in us card. Because Heisman
winner at quarterback.
Heisman winner, national coach of
last
year.
This is the only time that nobody believed in us with all of those check marks actually applies.
Absolutely true. Full blank check for them to use the nobody believes in us card because they're 100% right. If Indiana wins the national championship, I'll be like, and they're like, Fernando Mendoza goes out there and his weird Fernando Mendoza voice is like, nobody believed in us. I'll be like, you got us, man.
It throws me for a loop every time.
I don't know what that is, but it's weird and I don't like it.
It's worse than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, way worse. Way worse.
Nobody believed in us.
I'm truly proud of my guys. 100% get a full free pass on the nobody believed in us card because they're correct. But that being said,
I remember we were doing our Hurrdat. We were picking college football teams for our thing, and I don't remember who picked Indiana. And literally everybody at the table was like, "They're not going to do what they did last year.
Can't do it again. 7-5 team.
That's not going to happen.
7-5 team.
Yeah,
that's my.
They're not going to win the Big Ten.
That's my voice that I'm doing, by the way, because I'm the idiot that said that.
I also said that. I was like, they're not going to repeat. They're not that good.
8-4, 7-5, 9-3 tops. That's it.
They took Cal's quarterback. Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I was like, Rourke might be better. Rourke might have been better. might have been a better fit.
That one hurts. That one hurts.
All right, we got Georgia, Ole Miss. The Dogs are a 6.5-point favorite. You know, I going into Tulane, I said I'm not sure what Ole Miss is going to look like in their current state. They looked a lot like Ole Miss in their former state. I have to imagine it's going to matter at some point. I don't know that Tulane was equipped to make Ole Miss pay, but like not having Lane Kiffin has to matter, right? Like,
yeah, it's going to matter in this game.
Several pieces of their offensive staff, like it has to matter, and for that reason alone, besides the fact that Georgia is really good, and also I'm going to give Georgia a nobody believe in this pass either. Nobody's been talking about Georgia all year.
I kind of forgot that Georgia was a top 4 seed. I forgot Georgia only had one loss this season.
Yeah.
Just kind of spaced that they were even like it's one of those teams that I'm just like, it's the I'm trying to. It's kind of like the Spurs in the mid 2000s where you just kind of forget that they're there and running everything, and you're like, oh yeah, they're the 1 seed. Like that's crazy. Like Georgia's just quietly just destroying everybody and going about their business. Maybe it's because all their players got in trouble early in the season or before the season started, so they've kind of just been laying low. But
it's kind of funny you bring up the Spurs because you think of the early 2000s, mid 2000s NBA basketball. You're like, all right, Lakers early 2000. Then LeBron comes in, starts to do his thing, and then it's the Miami.
The Celtics are mixed in there.
It's the Miami Heat. The Celtics got theirs, and then you look at it and you go, oh yeah, the Spurs got 5 in that stretch, and you're like, wait, how did that happen?
Wait a minute.
That's sort of Georgia this year, where it's just like, oh, they're the 3. They only have what? Where did what happened? Huh. So yeah, I agree.
Gunnar Stockton has 2,691 yards and 23 touchdowns. Huh.
Which are like, those are
weird.
Fine numbers. They're not like crazy, but it's just I think they've really. I don't know if it's a nobody believes in us so much as a flown beneath the radar, but because they have flown beneath the radar, I will also give them a nobody believes in us pass. And it's
allowed for this one, just this year.
Just this one. I am taking the Georgia Bulldogs minus the 6.5.
Yeah, I think the whole Lane Kiffin not being there is probably going to take its toll on Ole Miss in this game. Like you said, I don't think that Tulane had the firepower to match up with Ole Miss, regardless of them losing their coach. Tulane also lost their head coach. He was allowed to coach in the game, but you got to have a feeling that maybe his mind was elsewhere, trying to think about things. Granted, he obviously is a professional and wanted to win that with his guys, but it's tough. You're trying to win this while also, maybe thinking about, okay, what am I going to have to do when I get to he's going to Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's what am I gonna have to do when I get to Florida? We're gonna have to play teams like this, every week when conference play starts. Like it's a tough thing to do both of those. So that's why I don't think Tulane was the greatest show of force for Ole Miss sans Lane Kiffin. And I think unfortunately they're gonna run into a hot Bulldog squad that is ready to just shut things down.
Also, like Georgia's Kirby Smart's gonna outcoach most people. Certainly a second career head coaching game ever, Pete Golding. Like, that's not a fair matchup. It's just not.
Sorry, dog.
I would like to see Trinidad Chambliss ball out. I do love a D2 story there. So would love to see that happen, but I can't. I got to go Georgia here, and I don't think it's 6.5 might be low on this one.
Kwan Lacey has damn near 1,400 yards and 21 touchdowns this year.
Kwan Lacey's very good. That's fine. So is Georgia. So is Georgia.
Yeah, that one hurts a little bit.
Yeah, it would be nice if, but Nebraska famously had a running back go for 1,400 yards this year too.
That's true. All-American.
Didn't get 21 touchdowns, but I think that was unrelated to
whatever.
There's some other
Whatever
going on there.
Yeah, give me the dogs.
You taking the dogs?
Yeah, I'm going to take the dogs in that one.
Right,
unfortunately, that's a pretty SEC.
Yeah.
You got actually only one SEC squad.
I would say
in the semis.
Yeah, it's just Georgia because I've got Ohio State. You've got Ohio State. I've got Oregon, or I've got Texas Tech. You've got Oregon.
You got Tech. I got Oregon.
Yeah, so that's Big 10 and Big 12. We both have Indiana, so that's a Big 10. And, just the one SEC squad, which I think is appropriate.
I've got 3 Big 10 squads.
Look at you. Big 10.
Look at that.
Big
I'm
10.
honking. I'm honking for the Big 10.
I hope
I'm a
you're
big
right.
conference honk.
I hope you're right.
And you know what the SEC is going to say? They're going to be like, well, we didn't have our – they're going to somehow turn it around and be like, well, if Texas would have been in there.
And I'll be like, yeah, you had 5 teams in and you got 1 to the semifinals. Well done.
Congratulations. I swear, if Georgia wins the national championship, I'm going to lose my mind. Like if my pick happens and I get 3 Big Tens and 1 SEC and Georgia wins the national title, I hate it. I hate everything.
I will burn it to the ground.
I need more group of 5s.
More group of 5s.
More group of 5s, less SEC. That's the kind of football I want.
Parity, equality. Let's make it happen.
Notre Dame join a conference. Stop being weenies. If you want to complain about not being in the college football playoff, join a conference. That's really going to solve all your issues. Because if you're as good as you say you are, you'll be in your conference championship game. You'll maybe win it, probably win it, but even if you get second, you should, unless you're BYU, be in the college football playoff.
Theoretically. And if you're Alabama, you don't even get dinged for it at all, not even on a line spot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're as good as you say you are and as good as people believe that you are, you could get smoked and it wouldn't matter.
Although by this time next week, Marcus Freeman might be the head coach of the New York Giants, so who knows?
Yep, that's going to be weird. I don't know if you realize this, but Marcus Freeman in his first year, last year?
No, he's been here for this is fourth or fifth year now. 4th year.
I don't believe that.
Year.
I think it's 2 years ago.
He had 2
No, because Brian Kelly has only been at LSU for 2 years.
That's not true.
Right?
Nope. I'm looking it up right now. You keep talking.
Yeah, please look it up.
Go ahead.
I could be. I'm probably completely wrong. Whatever. All I remember is that when Marcus Freeman started as the Notre Dame coach, he lost his first 2 games, and then he converted to Catholicism, and then they won the rest of the season.
All right.
That is a fact.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead. It's been 4 or 5 years, right?
This is his 4th full season as the coach at Notre Dame.
Okay. I just remember, you can look it up. His first year, lost the first 2 games, converted to Catholicism, and then they won out the rest of the season.
They were 9-4, so 8-4 regular season, then 9-3 regular season, then 11-1 regular season, and then 10-2 regular season. So he's got it going. He's got it figured out. I think he's got it. But
yeah,
the
touchdown Jesus.
We're going to look up 2022 Notre Dame real quick. We're going to verify your claim here.
Maybe they didn't win out, but I know they started 0-2, and then they won multiple games in a row.
So they lost to Ohio State, and then they lost to Marshall, famously.
Yep. And then he converts to Catholicism.
They won 3 in a row, lost to Stanford, that's a bad loss.
That's a bad loss.
Then they won 5 in a row, lost at number 6 USC, which is reasonable, and then closed out with a bowl game win over South Carolina.
There you go.
There you go. That's the Marcus Freeman, your new New York Giants head coach, possibly, maybe. Who knows?
Probably.
I don't know. That'd be a big loss for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We thought the coaching side.
Do they stay in house? We could talk about this later. We don't need to talk about this right now.
No, I don't know, man. It's wild. It's wild out here. Bring Brian Kelly back.
He's got nothing to do.
Don't do that. He's.
And you were winning with him. You weren't winning national championships.
Not like this.
No, you were making the playoffs.
Not like this. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, Rico, we appreciate the time going through the college football playoff here. I know you got to get out of here and, hang out with your kids and wife and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
You're the worst.
This is very, very live, so you've got lots of stuff to do here.
So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I mean, you do still need to go hang out with the kids and wife probably, but we'll be back here. Well, I don't know when we're coming. Oh, we'll be back. What day is this? What day are we live here? We'll be back for a live Hail Varsity postgame show after Nebraska plays, and we'll also do a live preview show for that one as well, because Nebraska bowl game greater than college football playoff, as we all know.
Yes. It goes Pop-Tarts Bowl, Nebraska bowl game, college football playoffs.
What if Nebraska played in the Pop-Tarts Bowl? That would be the ultimate.
They can't. It's a Big 12 ACC specific bowl.
Well, we're going to make an exception.
I want them to.
I'm going to work the phones. We're going to work some phones.
I don't cover football for Hurrdat, but if Nebraska makes a Pop-Tarts Bowl somehow, I'm sorry, Sasha. I'm doing it.
We're all going.
Sorry, Avery. I'm taking your spot.
I think we should take the entire squad.
I think we should.
If Nebraska ever makes the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which would be very difficult to do. Maybe there's opt-outs and stuff, though. You never know. Notre Dame was going to
I hope so.
Notre Dame was going to do a Pop-Tarts Bowl. Wasn't that?
Yeah, because they're ACC.
They're not ACC. They're independent. Anything can happen.
But they kind of are. I would have loved to see the Golden Dome with sprinkles.
Oh, that actually would have looked sick.
It would look really cool.
Not as sick as an orange sliced Pop-Tart, though.
I can't get behind that.
It was so good, man. I think about it all the time. Haunts my dreams. That and Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops Pop-Tart, man. So good. Tasted like real Fruit Loops.
That sounds amazing, actually. I kind of want that. That sounds great.
Good. It was so good. I can't believe they don't have them anymore. It makes me so mad.
I love the silly flavors.
Bring it back, Pop-Tarts. All right, Rico, appreciate the time. We will catch you all again soon. Hope you enjoy the college football playoff games and the rest of your bowl season as well. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.